Hello, good afternoon and welcome to News Today on your Joy News channel here on Multi TV. Coming up, police arrest 2 in connection with attack on Member of Parliament for Okre constituency, Dan Botre. Also ahead, confusion at the major polling center at Accra Newtown, where party agents are challenging individuals they describe as foreigners. And 2017 budgets to be fully funded by the country with no donor support. We have details of those stories plus lots more, including business, sports, entertainment, as well as international updates, all coming up in the next hour here on News Today. Stay with us. My name is Kwabena Chencheni. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today. To our very first story, Desire and 2 people have been arrested in connection with a robbery attack on the Member of Parliament for Okre, Dan Botre, Friday dawn. The legislator was attacked around 1 a.m. shortly after arriving at his Tema Community 20 residence. We'll be getting an update from the police in a bit, but let's first hear from Dan Botre on his account of what happened.
I know that I woke up going to see 3 people pointing pistols at us, my wife, and myself, and asking us to be quiet and to cooperate with them as they will shoot, to show them where our jewelry and money. They have already picked the mobile phones and other gadgets in the room, and so we have to do whatever we could do to make sure that they do not do the worst thing, because we're not sure what has happened to our children. And they kept on leaving our room and going to where the children are and coming back. So it was quite a traumatic experience. But thank God, after the let me say, quote unquote, cooperated and gave them all the money, whatever they wanted, and the jury and all that, they finally left. After about 30 to 45 minutes, then they left.
Well, we'll be bringing a lot more on that story because we do have a reporter who visited the residence of the Member of Parliament for Okre, Dan Botre, and she'll be telling us a lot more about this. We also do know that police has begun investigation into this very issue. We've been trying to establish contact with the Tema Divisional Police Commander. We've been unsuccessful so far, but we'll be bringing a lot more on this story pretty shortly. But away from that, and it's less than 3 days to the end of the limited voter registration exercise, but there are fears many first-time voters will be disenfranchised. Now, today, we are learning of confusion at the major polling center at Accra Newtown, where party agents have challenged some individuals who were described as foreigners. There are also long queues which have piled up from last night. Joy News' Patricia Gasu has been to the polling center and now reports.
Okay, the second phase of the limited voter registration is still underway, and I'm currently at Harvard Center at another place where the registration is ongoing, and I have the officer in charge, William Klatu. Apparently, there was some misunderstanding here. He's going to tell us exactly what happened. Hello, sir.
Hello, you're welcome.
Thank you. So what happened?
This morning, there's a queue. We have 2 queues over here. And they were complaining that some people were here yesterday and they formed their queue because yesterday we were not able to attend to them. And we have another queue for today. Now, we asked the 2 of them to join, and they said they won't agree. Then the agent start misbehaving. So far as some people were here yesterday, I have to switch to that, arrested them. That brought the confusion, the agents. I made a 2 queue. So yesterday, those people I couldn't register yesterday were in another queue, and those people who came today well, the left side. So I tried to call the two parties. I said, I'll serve those people in the queue today. At least I'll take 2 people from here. They take another 3 from here. Then they came to understand. So they came to agreement. That came to agreement. So they understand and I started the work.
This is the second phase. Comparing it to the very first phase, how has it been like? Have you encountered any challenge?
The second phase, I had only one challenge. Only this morning, one of the party agents from MPP is challenging one of the applicants that is not a Ghanaian. So I've registered the person through the procedure, but I didn't issue the ID card to the applicants.
But did the person come with a guarantor?
Yes, came to guarantor. But once he has been challenged, I can't give the ID card to him. So I asked him to wait. Around 4 o'clock, I'll be free. Then I'll fill the hearing notice for both parties. And they'll go to our office, Ayawaso, on the 30th of this month for hearing. So if we're able to claim himself, the card will be given to him over there.
The guy you said challenged the applicant, is he related to him or her?
No, it's not related to him. That's why they go to the EC office to go and explain or prove why you are challenging him. So the committee is there. They are going to decide. So if he's not able to defend himself, then fine.
I have a party agent here with me from the MPP. His name is Abdul Rahman. He's actually denying everything that the one in charge of the registration has said. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I was here as an agent. I was here around 4 a.m. So I have to see to the queue. I met that guy who was challenged. We prayed together. As an agent, I have to put my eyes down. We prayed together as a Muslim. But later when he joined the queue, his name was written. He called the name Alao, A-L-A-O. And as a Muslim, the name goes with Shamsuddin. And he mentioned the name Kunsu Din. Shamsu goes with S-H-A-M. S-U-D-I-N. His spell is C-O-N-N-O-D something. So we have to challenge, because we are not going to allow foreigners to come and pick an MP for arrest or president for arrest. Look at those small boys there. They were here around 3 a.m. I met them here. A foreigner will come and register when we have these youth who are supposed to be the future leaders. They have not eaten. Our MP, the MP, our Central MP, used to buy ice cream, find your go for them, buy water for them every day. And I'm appealing to the EC, Mami, Buagana Nkwalano.
We are here since 5 o'clock. And okay, look at the queue now. Nothing has been done.
You sound like a Nigerian.
Pardon? I'm in Nigeria, yeah.
And you're coming to register?
No, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian.
You're a Ghanaian?
Yeah, but I live in Nigeria.
You're a Ghanaian, but you live in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just came back. So I have to get this register card. And we are here since 5 o'clock, but nothing has been done. You see? So the situation over there now is very terrible. People are going and crossing, and we are still here. And nothing has been done. Okay, look at the time now. Since 5 to now.
What time did you get here?
Around 4.
So what are some of the things you've seen so far?
Well, it's not fair. They are doing things which will bring confusion.
What are some of the things you think will bring confusion?
They are picking from the line. Picking their favorites and stuff from the line.
Who are those picking their favorite?
The Mpenifono.
The official.
Yeah, the official. So please, it's not fair. They should change. Because they are rather causing confusion over here.
You're watching News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. Let's return to our earlier story where we are told that 2 persons have been arrested in connection with the robbery attack on the Member of Parliament for Okre constituency, Dan Kwekubocho. My colleague Matilda Pomega has just returned from the residence of the Okre MP, and she's joining me now in studio with more on what she saw. Matilda, many thanks for joining us. So, indeed, what was the situation when you arrived at the residence of Mr. Dan Botre?
When I got to the house around some few minutes past 9, a lot of the family members had come to the house to talk to the MP and then his wife, who is still traumatized with the experience that she encountered this dawn, and the daughters too as well. So it's been a sad mood in the house, but they are happy at the same time that the MP and his family are all safe. But the MP have been interacting with him, and he raised a number of issues, and he talked about the fact that his security guy was picked up by the police. According to what he said, he's saying that his security guy said in the morning when the robbers had left, the robbers left around 1:15. According to his security guy, the robbers knocked at the main gate and then pointed a gun at him through it's a hollow block. Okay. So they pointed the gun through the hollow block at him, the security man, that he should open the main gate. And he came to open the main gate.
So at the time when that gun was being pointed at him,
he was
in there and they were still outside. They didn't have access to the building.
They didn't have access to the main building.
But upon that threat, he
opened the main gate for them, where 3 of them entered the house. And I'm sure any moment from now we'll be rolling the visuals for viewers to see the.
Okay, so indeed we can now see on the screens the building itself and what really the situation at the time of your visit was. So yeah, you were telling me about what
happened. But before that, the security man said there is another security man who lives not far from the MP's house who came in with the robbers. According to his accounts too, that security man was equally threatened to lead them to the MP's house.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, it means these robbers attacked one house first.
No, they didn't attack a house first. They caught up with a security man
in another house in the neighborhood.
Exactly.
And then
he directed them to
the
MP's house.
Interesting.
So that is why these 2 men have been picked up and they are helping the police investigate. I was trying to find out from him whether he suspected foul play, and he's saying for now he doesn't think anything of that sort, but he is happy that he's safe with his family because it was a threatening moment for him. A gun pointed at him and his wife for 45 minutes. You can imagine what was going through their minds, particularly looking at some few months ago, JB Dankwa was murdered at his home. Indeed. So for him, what he tried doing was to comply with the rules of the game to ensure that he satisfies the needs of the robbers as at that time. So he was even showing them where they can find monies. He couldn't really give a total amount that was taken away, but he was telling them, open this bag, look here, you'll find money. So he helped them to take the monies out, so they
cooperated, and then they didn't hurt him. Okay. Exactly. So now let's talk about the investigations that we are told have now begun. What has the police been saying as far as these investigations are concerned? Already we do know that these 2 persons, like you mentioned earlier, have been arrested as his security detail and that of another neighbor.
He's a security man.
A security man, yeah. and another security officer also in the neighborhood. So aside that, what more do we know?
So the police for now, that is a community 18, the district police command, they are handling the case now. According to them, they do not want to give further details on it, but what they are saying is that investigations have just begun. Before I left the police, they were still at the premises trying to talk to some relatives of the MP to get more details as to something that could help them conclude their investigation. But they are telling me it's early days yet for them to see these guys know something about the robbery attack. So they have just started, so we should give them some time, and then they would finish us with the other details as well.
Matilda, many thanks for that update. But before we move on to other stories, let's take a listen to that very conversation you had with the Member of Parliament for Okre constituency, Dan Kwekubotre.
Asking for, first asked whether I had a weapon. I said no. Then they started emptying things, opening bags, turning everything upside down. And then, where's your money? They have seen some money in the bags, but they still asked, we still pointed some places that they could find money, hoping that will let them calm down, because it was frightening, and I wasn't sure what was happening to my case. So I wanted them to, as it were, be quote-unquote satisfied with maybe the money so that they will not harm the case. But fortunately, they also went there, took some money from them and their phones. And the first thing was to take all the phones in the room and all other gadgets. Yeah, that's about it.
And you say they held you hostage for 45 minutes?
Well,
what were they doing all throughout the spirit?
Two will go out of the room, one will be there, then they will come again, do more search, then they will go back. Then they always be sure there was one person in the room. Yeah.
So, but around this time, between this 45 minutes till they left, how was the experience? How was the feeling like to you?
It's difficult.
This near-death experience.
Difficult to describe it. Yeah, difficult to describe it. Just praying, and trying not to, do anything to get them jittery, because they were holding guns. These people, they will do these things under the influence of something. And so if you try to make any noise, they may shoot at you. Yeah. So at least we're conscious of that, trying to control my wife and make sure that we just allow them to do it, and praying that they don't do the worst. And thank God they did not. So.
Could you itemize the kind of things they took away?
No. Jewelry, watches, phones, money. And we have to ascertain whether they took something more. Since they left about 1:15 a.m., fortunately, they couldn't enter the room of my daughter. Yeah, and he was able to make calls. So by the time friends and relatives were able to contact the police, and they came, they had left. So there were about 2 or 3 teams of police were here. Yeah.
So with this experience that you have gone through, do you suspect anything fishy with all this that has happened?
I'll have no basis to do anything for now. No, I have no other information. It just happened. And since 1 a.m., 1:15, we've been sitting here, friends and well-wishers have been coming around. I've not actually even thought of. I'm just thankful to God that nothing worse happened to us, and no member of the family was hurt. I'm just thankful to God. These things do happen for you to know how God is gracious to you, and that's how I see it, honestly. Because it could be worse. I mean, they could accidentally shoot, even if not deliberate. So anything could happen, near-death experience. And once that did not happen, I don't think about any other thing again.
So that was the Member of Parliament for Okre constituency, Dan Kwekubotre, who was robbed this dawn, and he tells us that indeed there were 3 men who pointed guns at him. You just heard him interact with my colleague Matilda Pomega a short while ago. But let's return to that very situation we reported at some centers here in the Greater Accra region, characterized by violence. I'm speaking of the limited voter registration exercise, and we do know that that very situation persists also in some other quarters. Now we are being told of a similar situation in the Bono Ahafo region. Let's try and get an update on that situation from ASP Christopher Teria, who is joining me on phone now with those details. ASP, good afternoon. Many thanks for your time on news today, sir. Okay, so we have lost ASP Christopher Teria also on the line, but we'll try and rectify it and bring that very story to you in subsequent bulletins. But away from that now, and all is set for Ghana to become the hub of petroleum production in the West Africa sub-region. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama in an address to students at the University of Cape Coast. According to President Mahama, the the dealings and operations of the bulk oil storage and transportation company, as well as that of the revamped Tema oil refinery, suggest the country is on course to becoming a petroleum hub in the sub-region. I'm speaking of the president. He was speaking to students at the University of Cape Coast on the theme Rising Opportunities, Entrepreneurship and a Change in Ghana.
The advent of oil production has led to high expectations. While Ghana has great prospects with expanding our hydrocarbon sector, compared to Nigeria's production of 2.4 million barrels per day, Ghana's average oil production of 105,000 barrels per day in 2014 can be considered chicken change. It is also important to note that only a percentage of the annual oil revenue goes into what we call the annual budget funding amount, that is the ABFA, and is available for government to spend. By law, other portions of the oil revenue have to be set aside both for the stabilization and the heritage funds. On the whole, Ghana therefore remains a net importer of fuel. Future prospects could, in the midterm, bring Ghana to about 300,000 barrels a day, future prospects. However, oil has seen a dramatic fall in price from above $93 per barrel about a year ago. Oil has slumped to below $30 per barrel, and international forecasts for oil remain very sluggish. While it is expected that the industry would see a recovery by the end of the year into next year, except for some cataclysmic event to cause severe While it is expected that the industry would see a recovery by the end of the year into next year, except for some cataclysmic events to cause severe disruption of oil production, the days of high oil prices may be gone for good. The ability of U.S. shale producers to shut down and return into operation in relatively shorter periods than traditional oil operators will be a dampener on future high oil prices. The reducing cost of renewable energy, especially for solar power, also will be a downward pull in respect of the price of hydrocarbons. Ghana's future in respect of hydrocarbons therefore lies in an effective utilization of our gas reserves. And this is exactly why the gas prospects in the ENI Sankofa field and the Greater Jubilee development will be the anchor for Ghana's economic prosperity going into the future. A guarantee of 2,000 megawatts of gas-fired power over the next 20 years, with more discoveries being made, will bring to reality the vision of making Ghana the power hub of West Africa. More gas, and the use of less crude oil generation would also see a decline in the cost of power production. And this means possibly lower tariffs in the medium term. Such reductions in power costs must, however, largely be passed on to industry and business to create more investment in job creation and employment. We must aim at a situation where the cost per kilowatt hour is relatively cheaper for industry and business than for residential consumption, so that industry and business can create more job opportunities and employment. We will also continue to be uncompromising on our local content regulations in the oil and gas sector in order to create more jobs in the local economy. Ghana is already making strides in the downstream petroleum sector. With the restructuring of BOST and the revamping of TOR, Ghana is set to become the petroleum hub of West Africa. With all our petroleum strategic reserve tanks full across the country, we are holding perhaps the highest product inventories in the history of this country currently. We have therefore had to resort to petroleum exports to create space for fresh products to be unloaded. 40 articulated tankers a day load from Boss Bolgatanga depot bound for Burkina Faso and Mali, and these have become a recent export business for Boss. Also recently, Boss won a tender and supplied 35,000 tons of petroleum products to Côte d'Ivoire. This success story and an ongoing swap arrangement with Nigeria, products from Tor are exchanged for value in crude oil, has set Ghana well on the way as a major petroleum distributor in the sub-region. Some of Tor's storage tanks that have been out of service are being refurbished to create additional storage capacity as speedily as possible.
Well, the president also hinted that the country, that's Ghana, will in 2017 have a 100% fully funded budget without donor support. Now, the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is challenging government to publish the documents detailing how it intends to rationalize public sector workers come January 2017. According to Dr. Bawumia, the move forms part of an IMF conditionality agreement reached upon with the Ghanaian government, a document to the effect submitted in December last year.
As I've said in my lecture, there's an agreement between the government and the IMF. It's not a secret one. It's in the IMF agreement. If you take a look at it, it's on the internet, that the government will begin the rationalization of the public sector from 2017, January. The performance criteria suggested that government needed to present to the IMF by the end of December 2015 a document detailing how they are going to go about it. That document has now been submitted to the IMF, and I'm asking the government to publish it for all of us to see.
So this is binding on the government.
Yes.
If you come to power, November, 2017, would you go ahead and implement it, or you abandon it because you are not for rationalization?
We are not in government. Let us come to government and see what is there. But we want to know what they are committing to right now.
Are you for rationalization?
We are wanting to know what the government is committed to right now. In fact, if you look at it, you could actually see a need for more workers to be hired, not less. So we want to see what is needed for us to produce in this economy. And that is a different matter. If they've decided to rationalize by cutting, that's their cup of tea. But we Ghanaians want to know. They should publish the document.
What I want to know is, if you come to power, would you...
Well, Dr. Bawumia is also threatening to expose government over a transfer made to one of the country's commercial banks from the central bank. The transfer, according to Dr. Bawumia, amounts to causing financial loss to the state. Now, he made these comments while addressing students at the Accra Polytechnic on the state of the country's unemployment.
This government allocated a transfer the $250 million from the Bank of Ghana to an account for the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund at a private bank. They moved the money from the Bank of Ghana to a private bank. And it's just amazing. With no project to execute. But what is most amazing is that now the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund has now turned around to buy treasury bills with this money. They've now turned around to use this money to lend to government. Can you imagine what is happening? That I go and borrow money, I come and I give it to you, and you now tend to lend the money to me again. I'm paying interest for the money I borrowed outside to give to you, and I'm now paying interest to you for lending me my own money. Ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable. How can government go and borrow funds from the international capital market at 10.75% and give the same funds to another party and then borrow these same funds from them at 22% plus? If this is not causing financial loss to the state, I don't know what it is. It is an example, a practical and real example.
And that was Vice Presidential candidate of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, speaking to students at the Accra Polytechnic. You're still watching News Today here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. We are taking a break. Remember, when we come back, we still have business, sports, entertainment, as well as international updates, all coming up in the next half hour. Stay with us.
And now time for some business. And the Chief Executive Officer of Tullow Oil, Aiden Harvey, has been speaking about Ghana's second major hydrocarbon development, that's Trinidad, Enyura, and then Tome 10, which is expected to produce oil and gas by July this year. Aiden Harvey says the 10 project, despite being pursued within a period of oil price volatility, remains very important to the company, and that everything is being done to ensure production targets are achieved come middle of next year. He was speaking at to our correspondent, George Wefe.
We've reacted very quickly to the changes in the industry. You know, the industry's been through these changes in the past, and I think what we have done is we've reset the business very, very quickly to this new environment, and whatever that is. If this is the oil price environment we have to look forward to the future, then we're geared for it. And the big issue that we've always had is the capital expenditure that we were incurring on the 10 project here in Ghana, and you know, that expenditure finishes in mid-year, and then the 10 field comes on stream. So it's from then on, the business is cash positive. We have a number of operations here, obviously. The 10 project is a very important project, and we took a decision very early on that we were not going to cut any costs in 10. Our priority was to make sure that 10 was delivered on time and on budget, and I think we will achieve that. So you would have seen from the presentations this morning that the major work has been completed on 10, and we're on target to start production mid this year. The other part of the business, there have been cost cutting, as there has been throughout the whole of the Tullow organisation, and what we've been trying to do there is make sure that we are profitable as a business in low oil prices. And so we had to cut a lot of costs. We had to cut a lot of labour costs throughout the organisation. But we also had to get stuck into the service costs in the service industry to make sure that Tullow, as a business long term, could be profitable at these low oil prices.
Aiden Harvey of Tullow, and still staying with the oil and gas. The implementation of the local content law isn't inuring positively to the benefits of indigenous companies in Ghana. That's according to the CEO of the Petroleum Commission. The implementation of the local content law has always raised questions in the area of SMEs in the country, with some allegations that the local SMEs are yet to be treated fairly as part of it. Speaking to Joy Business, however, CEO of Petroleum Commission, Theophilus Aquirin, said the implementation of the local content law has now boosted local participation. He said the Commission further seeks to rake in more investment with the drafting of a petroleum exploration and production measurement regulation.
I think it's been very successful, considering the fact that we've just had first oil in the last 5 years. The extent to which indigenous companies are participating in this sector is very impressive. We currently have in total over 500 companies that are operating in the sector, out of which over 300 of them are indigenous. A few years ago, there weren't that many companies that could service this industry. And for this very short period, we are pleased about what is happening. In terms of the spend of investment that are happening in the country, we currently estimate that we are inching towards between 15 to 20% of the spend that is happening in Ghana, which is good.
Okay. Can you briefly tell us how this metering system is going to improve investment in the sector?
Investors like what we call regulatory predictability. They want to go to an environment where they know what the rules are written on a paper approved by the Parliament of the country. This document would give the investors some certainty that at the end of the day, their investment will be safe. So it will basically enhance the money that we attract.
Thank you.
On that note of petroleum measurement regulation, we end business here. My name is John Kojoamako. Coming up next is your spot. But you can join me for more business stories between 1 and 1:30 on the marketplace.
Welcome to Midday Sport, and we immediately go to the camp of Accra Hearts of Oak, who have been trending in the last 24 hours following a disciplinary committee punishment to the club after the unruly behavior of their fans in their Premier League game against Accra All Stars in Accra last month. Now, here is a report from Benedict Owusu with the details of the punishment handed the Phobians.
This will go down as the heaviest punishment handed a team in the history of Ghana football. First, Hearts had to play their next 3 home games in an empty stadium, something that has never happened before, and also pay a fine of 12,000 Ghana cedis. As if that wasn't enough, their National Chapters Committee Chairman Berima Etuahene has also been banned from football-related activity for the next 2 years and fined 6,000 Ghana cedis. This punishment came as a result of his comment on radio ahead of the game against All Stars, which were deemed to have cast insinuations which incited the club supporters against the match officials. Oparado, who is spokesperson of the club, also has been fined 6,000 Ghana cedis and banned for 2 years. This was pronounced in relation to comments he made at 2 radio stations here in Accra, where he made false claims and allegations against the referees committee of the GFA and the match officials appointed for the match between Hearts of Oak and Wa All Stars.
Tough punishment, isn't it? Let's now go to the camp of Ashanti Gold, whose head coach Bashir Hayford has replied his critics who have constantly criticized him since the beginning of the season. Now, the reigning coach of the year has overseen a horrendous start to the season, leaving the Soccer Miners 1 point and 1 place clear of safety on the league table. Now, despite this, Bashir Hayford believes he's under no pressure.
Why pressure? I'm not under pressure. I won the league last season. They said 19 years they haven't won the league. I should come and win it. But that is what they gave me. I've won. So what pressure? I'm not worried at all. A black man never appreciates anything. No. A black man, if you buy Lexus today, you wish to get Toyota. If you get Toyota, you want to get Benz. If you get Benz, you want. As we are finishing, I want to seize this opportunity to pray for all those who carried my news as a boost fire in the Hamatan. I pray for God's forgiveness for all of them, because you can look at I am grey hair. My strength is not even like Sifa this, and Sifa, if Sifa has gotten against me, how can I struggle? It is an orchestrated attempt by some people to push me out, and those who heard it and carried it like bushfire, God bless them.
Well, the very controversial coach Bashir Hayford on certain occasions. Now we go to the camp of Ebusua Dwarfs, who will be playing Asante Kotoko at the Babara Stadium this weekend. Now, for Dwarfs, they'll be hoping to continue their recent fine run of form in the league. But their head coach Jay Sapon knows the task ahead, especially with the Porcupine Warriors, fresh from winning against the Accra Hearts of Oak, will be tough.
Yeah, we always follow our game plan. And in matches like of this nature, we have to play tactically against a team away, a team like Kotoko. You don't rush into doing whatever you don't have to do. So we are very tactical. We want to go and play them. We're not going to defend. We'll open up the game and play with them. And I think the better side will win on Sunday.
All right, so I'll take you through the fixtures to expect for match day 11 in the Ghana Premier League. There we go. Techiman City will face Wa All Stars, and Inter Allies, who have got some news on, will go up against Wafa in Sogakope. Now, the defending champions Ashanti Gold welcome Bechem United to their fold at the Lenkley. Kumasi Asante Kotoko play Dwarfs, and Brekum Chelsea play Accra Hearts of Oak. Of course, Neo Dubiase also welcome Hazakes, while Adriana Stars play Dreams FC. Liberty Professionals will host Mediama SC. And just before we wrap up, Inter Allies have parted ways with head coach Herbert Addo. Now, the Tema-based club, according to a close source, have ended their relationship with the coach due to poor results. There is more later on Sports Today, exactly at 14 hours. Also, follow our various social media handles on Joy Sport for more sports news. Keep it here on Joy News.
Thank you so much for your time. My name is Gladys Osei Oredu. Let's take a look at our movie industry, which has received some concerns from actress and jazz singer Rama Bru. Rama Bru says that she hasn't been able to feature in any of her local productions because we speak our actors and actresses, and even the producers and directors are not able to push the actors and actresses to speak good language, good English language. And so she found it very difficult to even mention a name of an actor or a director in whose production she would feature in, but she was able to at least mention an actor from the international phase where she can feature along.
What if you had the chance to work with a particular director here in Ghana or abroad? Who would you choose?
Oh, Lord. I don't want to mention any names because, I think there's some great directors out there, so I don't want to offend anybody.
Okay.
But I'll just leave it there.
You leave it there.
Yeah.
And if there was any particular actor or actress you would like to act alongside with, who would you choose, be it locally or internationally? The biggest wish.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, how can you plead the fifth on both counts? Come on.
No, because I don't want to, mention anybody, and then somebody might feel left out. So
okay.
Don't put me there. I'm not doing that.
I won't put you in the spot. But okay, let's talk internationally, so the local actors and actresses won't feel offended.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk international. If there was a movie script right now and there was a particular name on it, would you run for it? Which name would you like to see on that script that will make you run?
Denzel.
I knew Denzel was coming up. Okay, I'll ask you one big favor. When you get to act alongside Denzel, just tell him I need an autograph and a picture.
Oh, no problem. You got it.
Okay, that's all.
Well, that's how we wrap up on News Today this afternoon on your Joy News channel here on Multi TV. My name is Kwabena Chenchen. But remember, there's a lot more news when you log on to www.myjoyonline.com. The Marketplace comes up next with John Amwaku. Many thanks for your company. Have a great weekend.